The United Nationalist Alliance drops its 3 guest candidates who failed to appear in coalition sorties. Team Pinoy makes the rounds in Iloilo as senatorial candidates Cheese Escudero, Loren Legarda, and Grace Poe say they are saddened by UNA's decision. The Sultanate of Sulu's so-called Royal Army plans to ignore a Malaysian deadline to leave Sabah tomorrow. 2 people are dead in the wake of tropical depression Krising, which is expected to be out of the country tomorrow morning. The Philippine Coast Guard says salvage operations for the USS Guardian, which ran aground in Tubataha Reef, will begin tomorrow. The United Nationalist Alliance dropped its 3 guest candidates from the coalition's senatorial slate in the upcoming midterm elections. Joyce Silas gives us details live from Zambales. Joyce?
Pia, after hinting at it these past few days, the United Nationalist Alliance has finally decided to drop its 3 guest candidates. Senators Loren Legarda and Cheese Escudero and former Movie and Television Review and Classification Board Chairman Grace Poe from its senatorial list. Now, in a statement, UNA Secretary General Toby Tiangco said they tried their best to accommodate their common candidates with the administration slate. This despite knowing that the Liberal Party, through Senator Franklin Drilon, has warned the candidates repeatedly against joining UNA's election activities. Tiangco said UNA held on to the 3 guest candidates' assurances that they will still join UNA's sorties sooner or later. But this did not happen. Tiangco said it is clear that the common candidates have already made up their mind and that UNA now has to move on. UNA senatorial candidate resigned Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri says the dropping of the 3 candidates was the collective decision of UNA's executive committee, which is composed of Vice President Jejo Marbinay, Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile, and former President Joseph Estrada. However, he and some other UNA UNA candidates were saddened over the dropping of the guest candidates whom they consider as friends. San Juan Representative J.V. Estrada said he was sad that the 3 senatorial candidates who supported the presidential bid of the late Fernando Poe Jr. in 2004 are now with the Liberal Party. In the 2004 presidential elections, Senator Loren Legarda was Fernando Poe's running mate. Escudero was FPJ spokesperson. The Binays and the Estradas actively supported Poe's candidacy. LP, on the other hand, supported the re-election bid of former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Arroyo was also serving then as LP's honorary chairman. Despite this, J.V. Estrada says he and his father will still support the candidacy of Poe's daughter in their personal capacity. Meanwhile, Estrada is not ruling out the possibility of UNA getting 3 new senatorial candidates to fill in the vacancy. He identified independent candidates Jesus is Lord leader Eddie Villanueva and Puerto Princesa Palawan Mayor Edward Hagedorn and Makabayan senatorial candidate Bayan Muna Representative Teddy Casino. Estrada was quick to add, though, that UNA does not necessarily need to complete its slate as their team is already okay even with only 9 candidates. Other UNA candidates share the same sentiment. Nancy Binay says it is easier to ensure a 9-0 win than a 12-0 victory. Zubiri and Zambales Representative Mitos Magsaysay say the dropping of the 3 guest candidates is not UNA's loss. Now back here in Zambales, Pia, Zambales has a voting population of about 450,000. Now it is expected that Zambales will be supportive of UNA due to 2 reasons. First, it is known to be an Arab country, and second, it is the bailiwick of 2 UNA senatorial candidates, Zambales Representative Mitos Magsaysay and a former Senator Dick Gordon. Now that is the latest here in Zambales. Back to you, Pia.
Thank you. Joyce Ilas reporting live from Zambales. In 2010, it was President Aquino who was number 1 in Zambales. Former President Joseph Estrada in the 2010 presidential elections only carried Nueva Ecija and Aurora in Central Luzon. And former Senator Ramon June Magsaysay is also from Zambales. Manila Mayor Alfredo Lim supports the Commission on Elections' decision to dismiss Vice Mayor Isko Moreno's request to put Manila under the poll body's control. Lim says it is absurd to classify the city as an election hotspot and adds that Moreno's request is merely a campaign strategy to appear in the media more often. Meanwhile, COMELEC Chairman Sixto Brillante says the incident involving the Manila Vice Mayor and policemen who arrested him last Saturday was blown out of proportion and does not require the poll body's intervention. Let's get the rainfall forecast now from Mai Rodriguez, reporting from the Solar Weather Center. Mai?
Hi, Pia. Expect better weather in the Visayas and Mindanao as Tropical Depression Crising has accelerated and on its way out of the country. It was last spotted 200 kilometers west of Balabac, Palawan, maintaining its wind strength of up to 45 kilometers per hour. The storm signal over Palawan has been lifted, and if there are no changes in its west-northwest track and speed, Crising is forecast to be outside Philippine territory by tonight. Let's now check tomorrow's rainfall amounts. Early morning rain mostly in central and eastern Luzon as well as Palawan. It gets pretty widespread, so we may have possible downpours also in Metro Manila early in the day. We see Crising out of the country's area of responsibility by this time. Light rains elsewhere in Luzon down to western Visayas, including Iloilo, Capiz, Antique, and even Boracay, lasting about 3 to 4 hours there before noon and early afternoon. Down south, moderate rainfall in the afternoon in western Mindanao, particularly the Zamboanga Peninsula, gets somewhat heavy but not lasting very long in the Lanao provinces and North Cotabato. On Saturday, we see rain settling over the extreme north, mostly in Ilocos Norte, Kalinga, and Cagayan, staying light in Isabela and the Cordillera region, light to moderate rains for Surigao and the Agusan provinces, reaching the Davao region here, and finally, much improved weather in the Visayas and Palawan with just showers here and there. Meanwhile, there's big news from NASA. Astronomers have discovered a mini planet, which is the smallest known world outside our solar system. It's called Kepler 37b and was found with a NASA telescope of the same name. It has two sibling planets circling a yellow star similar to our sun, located about 210 light years away. Scientists say the moon-sized planet doesn't have an atmosphere and cannot support life as we know it. And that's it from my end. Remember, always be informed and keep safe. Pia?
The Philippine Coast Guard says salvage operations for the USS Guardian, which ran aground at the Tubataha Reef, will start tomorrow given the right weather conditions. A report from the Coast Guard in Palawan says rough waves near the Tubataha Reef have calmed down. PCG spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Armand Balilo says the crane ship, the MT Jascon 25, tried to get near the ship yesterday, or tried to get near the minesweeper yesterday, but had to pull out due to inclement weather. A fire in Scalp Borromeo in Quezon City left 150 families homeless. Investigators said faulty electrical wiring at a house owned by a certain Jimmy Laos caused the fire, which reached Task Force Bravo. Quezon City Fire Marshal Senior Superintendent Bobby Baruelo says firefighters had a difficult time putting out the fire as the houses were situated very close to each other and were made of light materials. Baruelo adds strong winds also hampered the operation. Investigators estimate the cost of damage at 3 million pesos. The Malampaya joint venture partners turned over $1.1 billion in revenues to the government earlier today. Finance Secretary Cesar Purisima received the check, which represents the government's revenue in Malampaya operations last year. Malampaya supplies 2,700 megawatts, or up to 45% of Luzon's power requirements. Fresh protests broke out in western India after authorities found the remains of 3 minors in a well. Reports said the young girls were raped before they were killed. That and more, this Around Asia update from Claire Sildron.
3 young sisters aged between 6 and 11 were brutally murdered after being raped and later dumped into a village well in Bandara in western India. The incident renewed public outrage in the country, where there had been a sharp increase in sexual violence cases since the gang rape of a 23-year-old student aboard a bus in December. Locals staged a protest saying police failed to act after the girls' grandfather reported them missing last week. In North Korea, leader Kim Jong-un visited a military unit, the first reported inspection since the country carried out its 3rd nuclear test. A state news agency reported the young leader urged soldiers to step up preparations for battles. The report came as the White House said that the U.S. and its allies were working to isolate and pressure the North over its nuclear program. And in South Korea, thousands of taxi drivers joined a rally demanding the National Assembly to repass a controversial taxi bill to gain government subsidies. The taxi bill, designed to expand financial and other benefits for drivers, was initially passed at the Assembly but was vetoed by President Lee Myung-bak due to negative public sentiment. Drivers said they receive fewer state benefits than bus drivers since taxis do not fall into the classification of public transportation. Claire Sildran, Solar News.
Thank you, Manchu. And these are the top stories for this hour. I'm Hontiveros. Stay tuned to the Solar News channel. Solar 90 News comes your way at 9 p.m. Solar Daybreak starts your day at 7 a.m. Solar Newsday keeps you updated at 12 noon. And Solar News Cebuano delivers the news in the local tongue at 12:30 p.m. Thanks for watching Solar Network News.